Hey everyone, it's Bobbi.
It's Cedric.
And we are Aging Grateful. This video today talks about some things that we talk about quite often.
Oh yeah.
We've had some experience in it, so we know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And look, use us, live vicariously through us, so you don't have to make some mistakes that we make along the way of living abroad. Today's video, we are going to talk about furnished versus unfurnished rental property. So whether that be a house, condo, apartment, what is best for you?
Yeah, and you know, I guess why would you even want to rent furnished versus unfurnished? I mean, there's some benefits to
both.
Yeah. I think the furnished, you know, it's furnished. It's kind of turnkey. It's almost like the turnkey saying, right? Most of the places are going to be fully furnished. You don't have to worry about any dishes.
And that might be,
like that.
It might or might not be.
Yeah.
But another thing too, to piggyback off of what you're saying with furnished, yes, that sounds good to have everything that you think that you need in a space, but a lot of times the furniture may not be what you want or like.
True.
And it may have some semblance of livability, but there's definitely maybe some things that you might not be happy about in a furnished place.
Yeah.
But also thinking about furnished, you want to also look at it from this perspective of how long?
Yeah, how long you're going to be in a place. Because if you're bopping around from place to place, or country to country, or you're doing some traveling, then a furnished place is probably going to be your best option.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. If you're doing like 3-6 months, these kind of bopping short-term rentals, usually, especially here in Mexico, I know a lot of the furniture can tend to be heavy. Do you really want to lug furniture from A to B? I mean, heavy furniture from A to B for these short period of times. You want to keep doing that. So it might actually be best for someone who is doing a short term to actually look for a furnished property, right? Yeah. I know here in San Miguel, I don't know if you've noticed the streets, but a lot of homes in Mexico also are light, bright, colorful, vibrant, beautiful, but may not be your taste. Yeah. Right? So with that, but unfurnished.
One nice thing about unfurnished is it's a blank canvas, so you can pretty much make it your own. You can put your own touches to it. You can shop around and get the pieces to your style. Unfurnished homes or apartments or condos, whatever, typically are less expensive than the furnished.
Absolutely.
So there's a benefit there.
And we are noticing that here in San Miguel de Allende, that you may be able to get a better deal on a property that is unfurnished, so which is nice. But what we've decided is we have a couple of tips here. Again, determining how long you've been in a place.
Yeah, I mean, how long you're going to be at a place.
Yes.
And if it's a place that you really love, like San Miguel.
Yes.
And there's a nice community, and it feels like home, and you're not going to move anywhere, then looking at unfurnished may be
the better option.
The better option. One tip that I recommend that we kind of use is you pick two places that you really like, right? You pick the furnished place and an unfurnished place, and you see what the difference of the rent is, and then you multiply that by 12 or whatever long you're going to stay, however months you're going to stay in the place. And then that gives you a ballpark of, that is the amount of money you're going to save, but you can use that money to offset the furnishing place.
So as an example, as he was stating, if you have an unfurnished place for, let's say, $1,000 a month USD, right? A furnished place, excuse me, $1,000 a month for a furnished place. And then you have an unfurnished place that's $700. They're both equally as beautiful. You love the space. It's just one has furniture in it and may have a lot of pieces you like, but maybe not everything. And then you have this unfurnished where you can start blank. Well, that's a difference of $300 savings per month if you chose the unfurnished place.
Yeah, so that's $3,600 by the end of your lease if you're signing a 1-year lease, right?
Right. Or if you're doing 2 years or what have you, just keep adding the money. Could you actually furnish that place for this specific amount of money that you would be saving by having an unfurnished property? And we kind of look at it from that perspective. Like we weigh pros and cons on that to see if that's something that is realistic for us, right?
Yeah. And even especially in Mexico, it's fairly reasonable to even hire moving companies to move your stuff. Like if you're moving from one state to another state, we know people that do that, and they hire a moving company just to move their stuff, because most of the pretty much I could confidently say most places here in Mexico, it's typically going to be cheaper to rent unfurnished than it is furnished. How much cheaper, that can vary from place to place, but typically it's going to be cheaper. So if you go to, let's say, if you, like we did, we were in Puerto Vallarta, and then we moved to San Miguel, and we could find a nice place in San Miguel that's unfurnished. Had we had furniture in Puerto Vallarta, we could have had that furniture shipped at a reasonable cost,
or bust down,
or whatever,
van, truck, whatever, whatever.
Yeah. And it really it can really save you some money, right? Because you look at once the place is furnished, then you're paying that cheaper rent, and then that starts to add up. Correct. Over time, right? So that's the thing. But again, I think it all boils down to preference. Not only that, but you have to know that you're going to be in a place.
Yes.
Because if your plan is to do a lot of traveling and staying place to place, because we plan on doing a lot of traveling, but we plan on having a home base, right? So we can just come back here. But if you're planning on going from place to place to place, maybe you want to do 6 months here and 6 months there and 6 months there, then the chances of you furnishing a place and have to deal with storing that furniture while you travel is probably not going to be ideal.
Absolutely not. But you do what works best for you. But just a recommendation, tips on renting, period. We do advise that you just rent first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wherever you are going to be living abroad, rent first. Try and maybe do a short-term rental or Airbnb for the first 30, 60, maybe even 90 days, just to see what's available, just to make sure that you're okay with the place, that you're like, oh my gosh, I moved here, now I don't like it, and now you're stuck into this this lease. So those are our recommendations first when you are boots on the ground. You've decided that this is the place that you want to be. Maybe take that first 3 months just to hone in what it is you want, where you want to live, the different neighborhoods, and the price point of rentals across wherever you are.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend giving yourself that time, because if you jump right in, chances are you're going to see something better at a lower price, because you just didn't know.
But you're always going to
see that, but you just didn't know. Yeah. So, do yourself a favor. Rent Airbnb or whatever. Short term. Do a short term until you really get your footing in the new place that you're moving to.
Absolutely.
So.
Any other tips? Good.
I think that's about it.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you guys. If you found this video helpful, we would love for you to be able to like,
Yep. Subscribe, comment.
Yes, and hit that notification bell to let you know when our next videos will be coming out.
Yep, and you can head on over to our Patreon page if you haven't done that. We have a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, well, a lot of behind the scenes are coming up. But we do have some content on there, but more to come. So we appreciate you guys. Much love, and we will chime in with you later.
This is...